Hello, and welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Kurtz, and I'm also the founder of New Wings Coaching, where I empower and unlock women to soar in their calling and roar with their voices. If you're curious to learn more about how coaching can help you unlock your potential, be sure to explore the show notes for ways to connect with me further. Get ready to dive in as we uncover empowering keys and insights in this episode. So tune in and let's unlock hope together. Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm Kristen Kurtz, your host. I pray this episode is like a holy IV of hope for your soul. Please help me welcome my sweet friend, Yarely Rivera, to the show. We met through social media. We live in the same city. I don't even know. Was it 6, 7, maybe longer than that, years ago? And we've just gotten to know each other, especially through me being able to go to her location here in Bloomington called Flawless Skin and Brow Boutique. And I've been able to have some wonderful facials at her shop. And I just felt like I wanted her to share her story today because if you guys know, any listeners remember, this is season 2 and it's called Launching Pioneers. And I really want to highlight women who are out there, persevering, doing things that are different, creating things, whether it's in business, ministry, all the things. So I was like, will you come share your story? So Yarely, would you be open just to share a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll do a little bit more sharing as far as how you came to get into this business?
Yes. Hi, everyone. This is Yarely. As Christine said, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be in your space and just connect with your audience. And I'm originally from Mexico. I was born and raised there, and I came to the US when I was 15. So I feel like that's when my journey begins, I was moved out of my comfort zone. I was brought to the US, and it was such a cultural shock, the language, and also being away from family and friends. Like that was, it was when my faith really started to grow. And now looking back, I know it was part of the journey, but back then it was really hard as a teenager.
Yeah. What made your family decide to move here?
Well, it's interesting because my parents, we gave our life to Christ. I remember this, I was like 12. And my dad got a prophecy from this pastor that was doing these services. And he was from Guatemala. And he gave my dad a word that he was going to move up north and that he was going to be serving the Lord and all these things, And it was seriously like a year later that things started to line up, and he, like, out of the blue, he told us that we were, that we were gonna be going to Minnesota. He has family there. Um, but yeah, now looking back, I'm like, oh, I remember that day he was prophesied, and then it was like shortly after that things, my parents had their own business in Mexico, and things started to shift. And that's when my dad decided to come to the US and try, just try for temporarily. He was thinking just to test the waters and come with family here. So that's how we end up in Minnesota. My dad had found here in Minnesota.
So you went from warm climate to what we like to call Minnesota the bipolar state.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
It was pretty shocking. And it was also April when we moved. So everything was like dead and looked very depressing. And like, I come, like, where I'm from, it's all green all year long, like 75 all year long. So yeah, that was the first thing that shocked me. I'm like, where did we move to? What is
what year was that?
that was 1999.
99. Okay.
So
I moved to Minnesota in 92. So it was massive culture weather shock.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so do you have siblings too?
I do. I have an older brother who is 9 years older than I am. And then I have a younger sister who is 10 years younger than I am. So we're all like almost 10 years apart.
Mhm. So did you guys all come to like together, your sister and your brother too?
My brother, he was not, he didn't come with us. He was kind of like already doing his own life. So it was my sister at the time, she was 5, and then I was 15. So it was my parents and yeah, and
Wow.
then and I. Mm-hmm.
So you come from an entrepreneurial family. You said your dad had his own business. Had
Yes.
the, like kind of a
the-
generational thing, or is your dad kind of was the trailblazer there?
no, his dad. It was my grandpa that started this tire shop, and then my dad has had his own, and I think everybody in the family had their own like tire
Mhm.
shop. They sold tires. So
Ah,
my
so-
uncles, my aunts, yeah,
mhm.
in that area. And then my husband too, like his dad has a dental lab in Mexico. So when we got married, we always had this calling, like we knew we were gonna have a business. We didn't know how it would look like, you know. We thought maybe a like something food related because we love to eat and we love to cook. We're like, oh, and then we love Mexican food, you know.
Yeah.
So we're like, we need to sell tacos. But yeah, then we thought that's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I always had a thing for skin. Like
Mhm.
I remember just thinking about like, oh, it would be so fun to be a dermatologist. And then I was like, wait, but I could not go to school for that long. Like it's so, so much schooling.
Yeah.
And and yeah, I just had this like strong thing about skin and beauty and
Mhm.
natural beauty, and I thought maybe I should be a cosmetologist and learn a little bit about skin. So back then I didn't even know that aesthetics existed, I thought that the path to get to that was cosmetology. And
Okay.
yeah, and so I found out that Aveda existed and I'm like, oh, I should go check it out. And
Mhm.
I did, and they were like, "Oh, if you love skincare, then just do aesthetics. That is where you specialize." And I'm like, "Okay, that's what I want to do." Like I was so excited. But
Mhm.
before that, I went to college for international relations. I thought, "Oh, like
Yeah.
that sounds like fun." But then I was like, "No, what am I gonna do with that?
Yeah.
I should stay true to what really like." I just felt like such a strong calling for skin,
Yeah.
um, but also felt like I had to go to college. So I had chosen that path. And then I talked to my parents about it, like, yeah, I don't think that's for me. It's more like beauty school. And yeah,
Mm. So did you finish college and then you went to
no.
school?
So, okay. So it's a really funny story because
Mhm.
we moved here. I finished high school here. It was my sophomore year when we moved here. And then I graduated and I went back to Mexico.
Mhm.
I didn't go to my own graduation. I wanted to be there at my friend's graduation because I grew up with them, and I was just sad that I was not graduating with them. So
Yeah.
I went back to Mexico for that. And also I ended up going to college in Mexico because that's cheaper.
Okay.
And so, and also because my parents had told me that we were coming just temporarily. So I'm like, okay, well,
Mhm.
I'll just, I'm 18. I'm just going to go on my own and go to school there.
Yeah.
And and then I was having second thoughts because I'm like, wait a minute, I'm so close to my parents and especially my sister that it's not like, oh, I'm going to another state for college. It's like I'm going to another country,
Right.
So that was hard, but in my heart, I felt that I had to go. So it was like a step of faith.
Yeah.
And I went, and I'm so grateful that I went because that's actually when I met my husband
Aw.
in, in Cuernavaca. And so that's where I went to college for a little bit, and then I dropped out. and came back to the US and went to the Veda Institute. But this time, my husband was already with me. We were
Okay.
not married yet. We were dating, but we knew it was very serious, you know?
Mhm.
So I talked to my parents, like, hey, is it okay if he comes for a little bit?
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Oh. So was he at the college that you were going to?
he was not at the college, but his mom was my landlord lady.
Oh,
So that's how we met, through his mom.
okay. Wow. And I just want to highlight, like, you really felt like, I would imagine you felt like the Lord was calling you to go there, partly because college was cheaper too, right?
Right. Yep.
Really felt this strong, like, leap of faith to go there. And had you not gone, you wouldn't have met your husband.
Right.
Isn't that wild?
That it is. I'm like, wow.
Mhm.
I just can't imagine how life different would be. Like he's just like God has used him in my life, and
Mhm.
we would not be where we are if we had not met, like, obviously. But no, seriously, it's just mind blowing to me,
Right. Right.
because for a second, seriously, I was like, no. That day I'm like, maybe no, I'll just stay. But it was
Mhm.
like the spirit, like, nope, you have to go, and like gave me the strength to like get in that airplane and go and trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of just even this part of your story, I know that you are definitely a woman of faith and have a very strong heart to follow as he leads. And I know that, there's so much more to your story here that I would love for you to share. So as you were going to Aveda, like you mentioned that, skincare was really, you love skincare. As you were kind of going through the program, what was going through your mind? Like, did you have thoughts? Did the Lord show you what you might be doing after? Or was it just kind of like you just were, day by day? Can you tell us a little bit more about kind of this vision maybe that he had given you?
Yeah. So one thing that I want to share is that the enemy always wants to steal the blessing.
Hmm.
And so, like, in my head, I was starting to feel fear, limiting myself, because number one, my English was not good. And so I felt pretty insecure about like going to school, and then even like graduating. But I was like,
Hmm.
what if I can get a job? Or what if, like the
A lot
what
of,
if, like,
yeah.
uh-huh. But that's when I'm also grateful for my husband, because I'm like, you're like my life coach. Like, he's always like, no, yes, you can. Like, in my, like, I would limit myself, and he would be like, no, you should do it. Like, you're gonna be able to do it. And he was so sweet, because at that time we were so young. Like, how old was I? I think I was 21. Yeah, when I started school,
Mhm.
and he was 24. And so we were here, and um he, like, we didn't have much money, and like I had made spend my parents all this money in college and all of that, so we felt bad, or I felt bad.
Mhm.
And then Jesus, when I said I wanted to go to school, he's like, you should go do it full time, and I'll help you to pay. Like, he got two jobs, he's like helping me pay. And then also, like, I would be like, oh no, but this is not gonna work. Like, trying to get out of it. And he's like, no, you can do it. And so that was, I see how God
Mhm.
united us for
Mhm.
his kingdom, like, to serve in a different way. Because also, when I gave my life to Christ, I remember hearing for the first time about missionaries. And in
Mhm.
my heart, I was like, Lord, I want to be that. Like, send me to the nations. Like, I want to serve you.
Mhm.
And now that we're here, I feel like we're on mission, and that this is an answered prayer. It just didn't look like a traditional missionary, you know.
Right.
But I feel like God has brought us to Minnesota with a purpose, and it is through our business that we're able to serve His kingdom and just be, the hands and feet of Jesus, and
Yeah.
just be a light in a world of darkness. And Yeah, it's just really cool. But yeah, in Aveda, like I remember feeling like all this fear also, but that's what I said. The enemy a lot of
Mhm.
times wants us to believe his lies and limit ourselves so that we are not living to our full potential. But it's like that, those people around you, how God used them to pursue your purpose.
Yes. Oh, I love that you have a husband who's life coach because I'm a life coach, so I'm all about like I've said lately I've been doing several Facebook lives lately talking about we have a lot of not only within our own self the voices that we hear from the enemy or just that self-talk of like, oh, but what if, like, but what if, and you even have people that will come around you. I call them the well-meaning but what if people, like they have concern for you, but they haven't, like, had that deep conversation that you and, the Lord have had, and they don't understand your faith yet, and I say
Right.
yet because some may never understand, and that's okay,
Yeah.
but we have to be so firm in what we're called to step into, and if we're not, that's okay. We just take those steps, but we need those people who are I call them the "but God" people, like, "But God said," "But God said." Like what your
Eh,
husband did. Oh my gosh, how precious is he,
yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
know, like, a lot of women that I talk to, they may not have as supportive spouses, but, they do have friends or family
Right.
that have come alongside them to help them continue on because we do need each other. We need people in
We
our corner who are gonna cheer us on, right?
we all know who are those people in our lives that we can go deep and share, that they will understand where you're coming from and that they will understand who you serve, you
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
and they will be there speaking truth when we're hearing other things.
Right.
So I think it's also careful, like sometimes we get excited sharing about the things that the Lord is telling us, or like um or visions, or projects, whatever. But I've
Yeah.
learned that at the beginning, when it's like just growing, a lot of times you just have to be kind of careful, protective, and just share with those that actually get it. So it's like praying for that instead of receiving like, oh, but yeah, no, or
Yes, totally. Because if you're just kind of getting started with something and you're a little trepidatious about it, um, you maybe don't want to share it fully. First of all,
right,
because when you have, let's just say if you're pregnant, a lot of times, you wait to tell people until I don't know what time of, your pregnancy. But I feel like
right,
when you're pregnant with some type of purpose, there are times that if you share with too many people, it could abort, honestly.
right.
And I don't know if you've experienced that before. Have you
Yeah.
experienced anything like that before?
Yes. I mean, even with you're talking about pregnancy, now we're going on this side.
Yeah.
Um, I always wonder, like, okay, Lord, would it be possible to have a pain-free childbirth? Because
Mm,
we're
mhm,
under grace now, like
right,
we have Jesus now. And so when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had this thought, and I'm like, would it be possible? And just Googling, researching, I found this really old book that says the supernatural childbirth. And
mhm,
basically, it's like promises of God for women to be fruitful. And, like how, yeah, like now we're under grace and it is possible to have like this child or pain-free childbirth. And I was like, I believe that. But even in that book, it's like people will think that you're crazy. So don't share with everybody. It's
right,
like
right.
just your group of people. And honestly, I had like the most beautiful pregnancy, from like just easy birth. Same with my son.
Yeah.
And my midwife was like, wait a minute, what happened? Because she could tell it was like different. And so I got to share about like my experience with the Lord, the journey, and it was just like more spiritual. But yeah, it was really cool.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard somebody talk about that book before. I was like, "That is incredible," and that was after I had kids already. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, that
But
is
yeah,
so
my point was that even there is like, do not share with everybody because they will have
Yeah.
these thoughts that no, that's not possible. And then, it's like adding to that. It's like, no, you don't need that. You just need like the faith, and
Yeah.
I have all these Bible verses in there. Like, it's just remembering the promises of God and just like resting in Him and like not allowing any fear in the
Nice.
moment. So yeah, it was just beautiful.
Aw. Well, so how did Flawless Skin and Brow Boutique come to be? Like, what was that process like? Because like I said in the beginning, I am so blessed to be in the city with her and this beautiful, oh my gosh, if you guys could go there, you might even need to fly in if you don't live here. Tell us a little bit more about, just the journey to having a business.
Yeah. So, well, after I graduated from the Aveda Institute,
Mhm.
I started working for a very well-known spa in the Twin Cities, and I actually loved it. Like, it was fun, great education, great coworkers, great clientele.
Mhm.
It was just tricky because it became very like corporate towards the end, and like trying to get time off was like kind of impossible. And I already had Giselle, and I had just had Santi when I started like dreaming of how would it look like if I had like my own little space.
Oh,
And my husband, same, it's like, we need to open a business, we need to like do something. And again, we're exploring all the options. And then yeah, it's like the Lord put in our hearts, like, to go independent.
mhm.
And it wasn't like a super clear vision, like, here is the game plan, but it
Right.
was like one step at a time. And um yeah, we started with this little studio
Mhm.
in Richfield at Salon Concepts, which is it Salon Concepts? Yeah, I think it's Salon Concepts, which it was like one of the very first sweet salons, and where, it's just independent um
Mhm.
service providers
Mhm.
renting those. And I was like, oh, this is such a cool idea. Like, it's an easy way to get out and start on
Yeah.
your own. But again, the enemy, wanted to like come and steal.
Mhm.
And my company that I left were a little like not happy with me leaving. I had a non-compete, which was 5 miles. This place
Wow.
was basically 4.8 miles, and they made such a big deal out of it.
Wow.
And they were like, oh, we're gonna sue you if you open there.
Oh,
um but again, the Lord is like, it's just so amazing how everything He can turn it into something good. Because we did have to move from that location, so they would not sue, even though it was like this tiny room, And then, if like the place I used to work, it's like this gorgeous like spa. So I was
yeah.
like, okay, it's not even competition, but okay, we'll move.
Yeah.
So we had to find another location. And to make the long story short, like, we found this beautiful space that the Lord provided. Like, we we didn't think we could afford it because we went from a tiny little room to like a storefront.
Wow.
And but again, it's just like one day at a time. And that, God is just always in control. And I think it's just like the best way to grow your faith, we've been in awe, because seriously, when you partner with God, like, He just opens doors. And honestly, like, it ended up being such a blessing, because if we had stayed at that studio,
Mhm.
probably I would have been comfortable.
Right.
And but then it was like, no, you're not gonna be there. And so it moved us to I temporarily had to rent this other studio in Burnsville, and clients were so supportive. They were driving all the way, even during winter time.
Mhm.
But yeah, then the Lord provided the space where we are now. We live nearby, so we would drive by it. And then I'm like, oh, we should like take a look. We saw it. We're like, that would be perfect, but we didn't have the money, you
Yeah.
know? But the Lord provided. My husband, years prior, he had an accident at work.
Okay.
And so he got compensated. He got like works comp, and when
Mhm.
we kind of forgot about that money,
Oh,
and it was by faith. Like we went to this place and we're talking to the landlord, and he's like, "Oh well, this could work for you." I'm like, "Yeah, for sure. We love the space." But I couldn't move yet because of the non-compete. And he was willing to wait without knowing us. He's like, "We'll wait. In the meantime, like, I'll talk to my plumber, see if that works for what we needed, with the rules that we have to follow." And he's like, "And I'm willing to pay for the plumber." And we're like, "Oh, okay." Like we didn't even have to ask, but I could just see God, in all of
yeah.
this. And then he gave us a date, like, "Okay, we'll sign the contract by this date." And we're like, "Okay." And like that week that we had to make
Mhm.
all these payments, the check
Mhm.
of the worst compensation showed up. And we like totally have forgotten about that. So we're like, "Oh, okay.
Wow.
Thank you, Lord." And
Yeah.
so that's kind of how we got started. Like we seriously had no money, and then that showed up, and we're like,
Mm,
"Okay, this is our green light. Let's go."
yeah. And how many years ago was that?
That was 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. So it's been 10 years that you've been there already. Wow.
Yeah. So 1 year I was at the other little studio renting
Mhm. Okay.
inside of a salon in Burnsville. And then it was a year later. So at our location, we've been there 9 years, and we were so afraid to sign
Mhm.
up the lease,
Yeah.
because we're like, "Oh, we don't know if this is gonna work. Can we just do it for 1 year?" And but the contract was for 3 years, and now it's been 9 years. I'm like, "Whoa, how has it been 9 years?" When you're having fun, and it just flies
Yes.
by.
Well, beyond what you do, just how many employees do you have right now?
So let's see, we have two estheticians, with me it's three.
Mhm.
And then we have a receptionist, and my sister, she is in school currently to become an esthetician, so she'll be working with us too.
Oh my gosh. How amazing. So when you first got started, was it just you there at the location then? Or
It
did you
was just
have other
me.
right away?
Yeah, it was just me, and it was just what we needed. Like I wanted to just kind of learn, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
figure it out, and
Mhm.
also find a balance because I had two little ones.
Yeah.
So, and family has always been such a priority for us. And that was one of the reasons why we wanted to start something, to have more freedom. Um, so we started like that, and it was just me for about 3 years, and we had never like promoted. It was always just word of mouth.
Mhm.
Um, but then it started to get so busy, word spread, and I was working more than I wanted to. And that's when I knew I had to hire somebody. And
Yeah.
so that's that's been amazing. I'm very blessed with like two, Celine, Audrey. They are both
Yeah.
super talented and love Jesus. And I just love that, like how God
Good.
is all control even of that. I'm like, I'm not just looking for like believers, but the Lord just
Right.
sends to me.
I love that. And yes, they are precious. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Um, so when you said it started getting like really busy, how long into, having your own location was that time frame? Just was it
I
2 years, 4 years, 5?
honestly, the Lord has been so faithful. Like right away was busy. Like because I was working at a little, it's called a hair district in Burnsville, and so it's a chair rental. There were so many hairstylists there, and
Okay.
so I already had like some clients that follow me from my previous location, and then all these new hairstylists were sending me, clients too. So I have never had a slow day since I opened.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, and there's a little hummingbird flying by, which is just amazing. I
Oh,
just had to stop.
oh,
But
I
I love that. A lot of this has been very organic. You haven't had, obviously, throughout your whole story, I'm hearing you literally have not had to like bang down on doors. There's been no striving, right?
No, no, it's just seriously the Lord guiding us, providing from the people that come to see us. Like I'm just enough. Like honestly, like it's all been by grace.
Hmm. Yeah. Amen. Well, beyond what you do, you've created things too, right?
Yes, and that's just so fun. Because God is the creator, right? So it's so fun that he has made us in his image and he gives us the creativity to build things or come up with new things, innovate. And I feel like he's the one guiding us at Flawless. Like we are pioneers in holistic aesthetics because a lot of times when you hear like aesthetics or holistic, a lot of people think, oh, crystals. Like I have a lot of clients that are finding us because they're like, oh, my esthetician said it was holistic and she's just using crystals or, you know, um,
Yeah.
natural things, but just we're taking that to another level. So we love combining like organic ingredients with high quality technologies that are non-invasive, that do not create toxicity, and so promoting healthy living, embracing natural beauty, and just using like clean alternatives to what the conventional world is telling people to do. And so but yeah, so we've created some really fun services where we use like microcurrent, a little bit of it's a low electrical current. Um, we use light therapy. And then we've also created some products that are more clean, where, we are adding more active ingredients, but less quantity of um, actives in there, so the skin is not like overworking trying to process all the things. So yeah, it's really fun to embrace how our bodies have been designed to heal and just support that versus you know
Yeah.
putting junk bodies.
When our skin is the biggest organ too, right?
Right,
So
it is.
that a little bit for those who maybe aren't aware of maybe what you're putting on your skin, what the benefits and or the detriment to that might be.
Correct. Yeah, and our skin is not only the largest organ, but the one that we get to see, right? So it's like a map of what's going on inside.
Mhm.
Um, so it's a great guide to know also what's going on. Like if we are having acne breakouts or
Yep.
psoriasis, rosacea, all the things.
Mhm. Mhm. I love I love that you've created your own products. I love when God gives, I'm sure he's helped you with formulations, but what is your favorite product that you've created with the Lord that you have available at your store?
Yeah, so that is my vitamin C. It's called Daily Essential.
Mhm.
And so it's an antioxidant serum. It's oil soluble vitamin C. I'm a firm believer of using antioxidants daily topically, but also consuming them, right? But yeah, this product is combined with turmeric, which is so powerful. And I just thought, oh, the two of those are gonna be amazing. And then we deliver that in a hyaluronic acid serum, so it's like multifunctional because we don't want to be layering like too many things, and like I said, you don't want your skin to be working extra hard either,
Yep.
because your skin already knows what to do. Like if you cut yourself, it's gonna heal on its own. You don't have to tell it what to
Mhm.
do, right? So, but with these active ingredients, we're sending messages of like, okay, here, there's a little extra support so you can do the thing you know to do better.
Love that. I might have to give that stuff a try.
Yeah, it's so brightening and hydrating. Like you get an instant glow. And what it does, it's just going to give you better sun protection.
Hmm.
It keeps inflammation down so your skin just can handle things better.
Okay. And what
Yeah.
is the name of your line that you have available?
So it's called Rebalance by Yarely Rivera. And I believe that our skin, like I said, it's been already designed to heal. And if your skin is not healing, it's because things are out of balance. So with the active ingredients that we put in the bottles, it's to support your system to get back to homeostasis, and then you can heal.
Hmm. Amen. And anybody from around the world can order from your shop, or just US? What does that look
Yeah,
like?
right. US.
Yes.
Yes, it's just US. Um, and we have, like, we're sold out right now on products, and so it our products are made here in California. Actually, I'm in California right now. So there's a little wait list on that way, the Daily C, and then we have this other really awesome beauty oil that also has the vitamin C in there. And it's just so healing, and it acts like a second layer of skin. That's another one that I think you should try.
What is
It's
the name
called
of that one?
Restore Beauty Oil.
Hmm. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
My favorite product that well, I should only say the only product that I've tried that you've created, at least that I know of, because I've come in for facials, so I'm guessing that they might use some of your stuff,
Uh,
but is the body oil.
oh my goodness,
Body
yes.
oil
Like,
is like the smell is heavenly, and just the way my skin eats it up is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I feel like everybody needs to know about this body oil too.
thank you. Yeah, so when started Flawless, I was on the hunt for a massage cream
Mhm.
that I could use during the treatments, and I could not find something that did not have petrochemicals in there.
Right.
And like all, like the massage, cream, like lotions that they sell to spas, were just junk. And so I was like, no, I don't want to be using that on anybody or touching that all day long. So I started like playing with oils. And at first I started with coconut oil. I'm like, oh, just keep it simple, use coconut oil. But my sheets would like stain so bad, and the smell, it was like a little potent. And I just kept playing with things. And then it's like the Lord just kind of, okay, like this is healing, this is good, like. And so I put together this little oil blend.
Mhm.
It's mostly avocado oil, which, coming from Mexico, like I wanted to use something that it's in my roots. And so it's avocado oil, grapeseed oil, and then we combine like all these essential oils, lavender, little vanilla notes in there. But yeah, it's like liquid gold. Everybody loves it. And that's what we use during the massage, in the facials. And that's how it started. Like clients were like, oh my gosh, what is this? It smells so good. It
I
feels
know.
so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is the oil I make for the massage part. And she's like, or clients will be like, do you sell that? Like, can I buy it? And I was like, you know what? I don't sell it yet, but I think that's gonna be coming soon. And so that's how it all started.
Oh my gosh. How incredible. Well, I love your journey, and I just love your heart. Is there, and you don't have to share if it's not, you don't have to share if it's not public yet, but is the Lord stretching you this year even in more ways, as far as what you're called to in your entrepreneurial journey?
Um, I think that I want to get more into education, because I feel like the Lord has revealed me so much with like microcurrent and how it can heal, and how yeah, all the things, but there's not a lot of people that know how to do it, and that's something that I'm very passionate about. So I'm praying about this. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I need to be teaching
Mhm.
others about like how to use it so they can make a difference with clients, so less people use Botox. I feel like that's the thing that because a lot of people end up doing that and it's just not good for them. So
Yeah. Do you want to go there for a second?
sure.
I call it no tox. Like
No,
no tox to Botox.
yeah. No talks. We have a highlight of no talks in our
Yes.
Instagram.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Well, can you share, like, would you be open to sharing a little bit more
Oh, for
about
sure.
what you've learned about, um, just Botox? And, there might be some women out there who either have done it or might be
Oh, for
planning to do it. And you might actually have something that could potentially help them either not do it anymore. Because, some of the things that are out there, they're just so conventional and everybody's doing it.
right.
And sometimes people don't stop to question what they're actually doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So Botox is just a quick solution that people are going to thinking that that's the best alternative to prevent
Mhm.
wrinkles, but it's a neurotoxin that it's been placed so close to the brain. And our bodies are not stagnant. Like everything is moving inside. And so Botox affects the nervous system. Like it literally paralyzes. It's like killing cells. That's why it numbs or
Mhm.
it like blocks the movement,
Yeah.
and so that's my fear. I'm like, wow, like we're already seeing a rise in Alzheimer's and all these other brain things. And to directly put a toxin so close to your brain, every I don't know how often people do it, but um that's just not that's recipe for disaster. It's blocking your lymphatic system, the oxygenation around that.
Mhm.
So of course bad cells are going to be spreading like crazy when there is no oxygen and there is no flow. There is just that stagnation, and I think that's why it works for some people. Like it looks, it's just creating all that inflammation in there that it's like kind of plumping.
Right.
But long term, I don't think people are thinking of the long term effects. I'm currently working with a client that she's been using it for 16 years, and half of her face is suffering of this nerve damage. That honestly, I'm convinced it is Botox use for 16 years. But yeah, it's like it's pulling up, like her nervous system is so messed up that
Mhm.
is like pulling up her muscles like so tight that it hurts, and it looks asymmetrical. And so what we're trying to do is create symmetry, like lifting the other side, but also like with the with the microcurrent, we're
Mhm.
trying to create that cellular energy so the nerves start to regenerate, because microcurrent is the only thing that can do that. So we're doing rehab on her, and she's looking better, she's feeling better. But sadly she's going to her conventional doctors, and all they want to do is put more Botox to relax her muscles, but that's only putting gas to
Yeah.
the you
Yeah.
know so yeah, Botox is honestly the last thing I would do. Like I'm 41 and I've never done Botox, and it's just a myth that people need it to age better. Muscles are not designed to be paralyzed,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
yeah. So that's why a lot of people end up doing other things later, because it causes muscle atrophy.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. You don't want that in your arms. You don't want that in your legs.
Right.
You wouldn't want that it would immobilize you, right? If you're putting it in your legs and your arms, right? So I wanted you to go there for a second just to help kind of bring an awareness to people if they've never thought about it. Because there are natural, I like to call supernatural alternatives. And you've done such a beautiful job of bringing things to light, on your Instagram for your shop page. What is that handle for Instagram?
It's Flawless Skin and Brow Boutique.
Okay, perfect. So you guys go follow her, and I will add a shop link for all of her products in the show notes. Is there anything else that, like, oh, I was going to ask you one more question.
Mhm.
What is your favorite service that you offer at Flawless?
The holistic facelift. Um, it's literally a non-invasive facelift. Like, it's great for keeping your skin healthy and looking its best. It's an alternative to Botox. And with the holistic facelift, we do like a deep cleaning and the extractions, like all the things that we normally get during a regular facial. But then we also add infrared light, because infrared light is so good to energize cells, and the light waves penetrate deeper than any product can in a non-invasive way. And then we add microcurrent. So with the microcurrent, we are creating muscle memory. We do some repetitions. It's like a workout for the face where we're contouring and lifting, strengthening the muscles. And then we finish with a organic collagen induction, which is using this Variaga. It's a river sponge from Russia, and they turn this into like a powder. Okay, they dehydrate and then it is converted into a powder. So when we massage that in, it's like mimicking microneedling, like tiny little fibers go in, they get embedded for a day or two. Your brain reads those as like micro injuries, and it's trying to heal that, and so it will release all this good quality collagen. So it's non-invasive. It doesn't, you leave glowing and looking beautiful. I think of it like Spanx for the face. It's like right away tightens everything.
Mm.
And your glow it will last for days and days.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're amazing. And I think of you when I think of you, I think of the verse Psalm 34, where it's those who look to him are radiant. I don't know if that's
Oh,
one of the verses,
yes.
one of the verses for Flawless, but yeah,
Love.
you do bring a radiance, and just even walking into Flawless, it's one of those spaces that you can tell that the Holy Spirit is with you and is over your business. There's so much grace, so much joy, so much peace. I'm like, every time I see you, I'm like, I get a hug. So definitely, if you're local, you want to stop by. If you're not, you still want to potentially fly in. You will be amazed. And yeah, so thank you for sharing your story. I just truly believe that you are another brave voice who's setting others free. Part of why I do this is, well, because the Lord showed me that I was going to, and I had to be obedient. I was like, Lord, you got the wrong one, but I do it. It's been a process, right, for my voice to get out there. But He showed me that this is for the one and for the one. So it's for him and it's for the one. So I always imagine as I'm talking to somebody on here that there's one woman who's listening in. Is there anything, like, if you can envision this one woman, is there anything that you would want to say to her today? And then would you pray over her today as well?
Yes. So all I want to say is that you have been created beautiful, that you are enough, and that God is with you. So whatever is in your heart and you're dreaming of, He can make it happen. And so I'm just gonna pray.
Mm.
Dear Lord, I just want to thank you for this time, Lord. You had it prepared, and you know who is listening. And I just pray that you will give everybody right now some peace and understanding of your love and your creativity, Lord, and that you can use my testimony to empower others, Lord, because it hasn't been easy, but you have been faithful, and you are always there, Lord, giving us a way. And you are the waymaker, Lord, and I'm the living proof of that. You have blessed my family, Lord, and you've done it for your kingdom. And so the same way, Lord, I'm praying that you will bless everybody who is listening, and that you will fill everybody with creativity, with power, with joy, and that everybody will feel so secure in who they are, Lord, because you have created them wonderfully, Lord, and beautiful. And I just feel like there is a struggle in society today, Lord, trying to fit a mold, Lord, but make no mistakes, and there is beauty in all of us because we are your daughters, Lord. So I just pray for everybody today, for for you to be with everyone. And thank you for this time, and for Kristen, Lord, that you will continue to use her for your kingdom. In Jesus' name, amen.
And thank you, my sweet friend. Thank you for sharing your story. I am excited for everything that's to come for you. It's only going to go to the more. I just see so much more for you. So I will post all of the information to get a hold of Yarly. And when I say I was telling her before the show, I was like, I don't know how to say her name right. She says it so much more eloquently. But to get a hold of her, to get a hold of Flawless Skin and Brow Boutique, if you're local, make an appointment, and also a link to shop. So thank you, listeners, for listening today. I will be back on with another episode next week. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.